Welcome to Living Chassidus. Together, let's live the Chassidus we learn.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the Morning, 15 minutes. The Bosi Gani of the Rebbe, the first mime of the Rebbe. Today's shir is sponsored by Yosef of Wood Eisenberg for Refuah Shalema, for Tinaik ben Devar Leah, and also for Refuah Shalema for Meir Gedalia ben Chana Leah. Everyone should have Refuah Shalema who needs, and in the merit of this learning, you should have only good. So we're starting to discuss what does this mean, the Shvi. And remember, as we talked about in the beginning of learning of this Maimon, that the way the Maimon Bosi Gani is set up is that we basically go through the Friedrich Rebbe's Maimon and focus on the first ois, the first chapter of the Friedrich Rebbe's Maimon, and we sort of discuss different ideas that the Friedrich was saying and really like analyze it. And the Rebbe that's what the Rebbe is doing. So we analyzed what does it mean. What does it mean that Bosi Gani? We said Ikesh Shchina. What does it mean Ikesh Shchina? What does it mean the main Shchina, main divine presence? And so we discussed it could mean different things, but really what the Ma'am is saying is the Ikesh Shchina is talking about the level of godliness before the Seder Ishtalshus, before the first contraction. That is the Ikesh Shchina, and then that was revealed in this world. And then we started discussing. We said through the seven tzaddikim, through the seven averos that removed that shechina from below to above. And we said the main avera was the avera of Adam and Chava, which took the shechina from the physical world out of this physical to the spiritual world. And we said it's not only the main avera because of the fact that it's monaget to us. It's connected with, because we live in this physical world. But we said it's also because of what it did is really that's because the Ikesh Shchina is meant to be down here. So when you move it, you take that out. That's the biggest issue, and that's also why. And sort of we discussed yesterday. We're gonna go over it again. Why specifically also bringing it down is the main bringing down of the Shechina is when it comes to this physical world. Not just because of the fact that it's negat to us, it's what we deal with. We're in this physical world, but because of it's the biggest accomplishment. And we're going to discuss, and then we discuss the I'll call shvivin chavivin, and this is very much negat to us. And also today, when we learn it, I want you to think about two things: one, us, you, and as an individual. What does it mean, like that the Rebbe is talking to us, and also think about it how the Rebbe is talking about himself. Because that's what we're all into that category of the Shvi. Yeah. So I'll go from there. Page 36 in this book, in the middle of Eis base, Mamshech by Maimon. The Friedrich continues in the Maimon, Zayin Tzadikim, and then there stood seven Tzadikim, and they brought the Shechina down below. So the Shechina went up, 2,000 years of Averis, and then it started to come back down. The first person started bringing down the Shechina from the 7th to the 6th was Avram. He merited to take the Shechina that was in the 7th heaven, bring it down to the 6th heaven. And the Friedrich Rebbe, he says it very shortly, very succinctly, and he says, he basically says Avram, and then he jumps to Moshe. Doesn't explain everyone and the whole process in between. So Moshe, which is the 7th, and then he says in brackets, and all the 7th are cherished. This is what the Friedrich Rebbe writes. And the 7th, Moshe brought it down into this world. And the main hamshacha, the main drawing down of the Shechina, like we talked about, is it's through Moshe. Even though you have 7 levels of people that are bringing down the Shechina, so why is Moshe the main one? Moshe was the one who brought it down into the world. That's why it's more cherished. Meaning they all did the same. You could even, in some sense, say they all did the same amount. They moved the same amount, but Moshe is the one who brought it over the line, so to speak. He brought it down to this physical world. And just like when the removal to the Avera, Milamata Lamaila, from below to above. Who Bechet Esadas, the main removal, the main problem was by the Chet Esadas, canal that it went out from this physical world into the spiritual world. Just like that was the main issue. When you bring it back down, it's specifically bringing down to this physical world. Besides the fact, the reason why it's so important, because I live in this physical world. So when we bring the Shekhinah, when the seventh, when the Moshe Rabbeinu or the Rebbe brings down the Shekhinah, brings Mashiach, brings the Shekhinah down into this physical world, so of course it makes a difference for us more than when Avram brings it down to from the seventh to the sixth, because it's still in the heavens. It's not in this physical world. But besides that, the whole purpose of Hamshacha is there Nasser al Yidei Moshe Dafka. It's specifically it's through Moshe. And it's brought down in the Fidikus Maimer in brackets. Why is it Dafka? Because it's Moshe. Because he called Hashvin Chavivin, because all the seventh are cherished. So what we're bringing out here is that specifically the seventh is cherished. There's something specific about being seventh is that makes it cherished, makes it special. And that's why Dafka Moshe. Besides the fact that he brought it down to the physical world, but it's also the fact that it's Moshe himself. And why it's not just Moshe. That's what the Rebbe is going to explain. It's not just because he's Moshe, but it's because he's the seventh. And so too with us, and so too the Rebbe. The Rebbe is sort of saying about himself, as we're going to see, that it's not that he's special because of himself being special as much, which is also just like Moshe, but it's so to speak, in a sense, it's more the fact that he's the seventh. Just like and Moshe the seventh, and so to the Rebbe seventh, and so to us in generation the seventh. It's not that we're special and we're anything specific besides the fact we are special because of the fact that we're in the seventh generation, and our job is to bring it down to this physical world. And as we see, the ultimate purpose is bringing down the Shekhinah back into the physical world, which is Mashiach, and that's our job. And Kol Shvin Chavivin, and we are special because we are the ones that are going to do this, and that's what we're going to discuss. So Eis Gimel. And the Rebbe is going to analyze this Kol Shivin Chavivin, and he's going to get into it. It's going to be very, very powerful or emotional. Milashon Razal Kol Hashivin Chavivin. The fact that we say all the seventh are cherished, Kol Hachavivin Shvin. We don't say all that are cherished are seven. We say all that are seventh are cherished. So what does that show us? The main mila, the main specialness is primarily the fact that it's the seventh. And the Rebbe is saying, the Rebbe is taking on the Nesias. Think about it in context. The Rebbe is having a Farbrengen in the Fidik Rebbe for the Yartzeit of the Fidik Rebbe, and that the Rebbe is taking upon himself to become a Rebbe. That's how everyone's feeling about it. And the Rebbe is actually saying a Maimer, which he's saying, I am taking on the leadership, and I'm the seventh. And the Rebbe is saying, the mile of seven is because it's seven. Not because it's like it says, it doesn't say call a chaviv and everyone that is special is seventh. It says everyone that is seventh is special. Why am I special? The Rebbe is saying, why am I special? It's not because of me, because I'm the seventh. The main mile of the Rebbe is that he's shvi, that he's the seventh. Because he's the seventh leader. That's what makes him so special. That's what makes him cherished. Such a humbling idea, the way the Rebbe is putting it. Meaning that this cherishedness that the Rebbe has is not, he's saying it's not because something that he chose or because of his ratzon, because he's Aveda. Even though the Rebbe did a lot of Aveda. And we know, of course, the Rebbe. Even though all these things, the Rebbe is saying all these things are really irrelevant to what makes me so special and cherished. What makes me cherished is the fact that I'm the seventh leader in the generation because I'm the seventh, because of all the six previous Rebbeim. This comes because of his birth. He's born into this. He didn't do anything to acquire this, so to speak. And nevertheless, even though it's nothing because of something specific that he did, but nevertheless, he's special. Why? Because he's seventh, and so too with us. It's not we're special, we're cherished because we're the seventh generation. not necessarily because of anything that we've done. It's not saying we didn't do anything, even if we did anything, but why we say special is not because of what we've done, it's because of we're the seventh. And that's why Moshe merited to have the Torah given through him. So what we're saying is the Moshe didn't receive the Torah because of Moshe's qualities, but it's because of the fact that he was the seventh. Because we had an Avram Avinu and we had all the seven leaders, all the six leaders before him, it's that cause that Moshe can be the one to receive the Torah. The Frierdiker Rebbe explains, America, when he just came to America, he said in the Maimon, said in this idea, the seventh cherished, what does it really show us? Shows us the specialness and the greatness and the unique virtue of the first. In that case, Avram Avinu, in our case, would be the Alter Rebbe. Just finished Chav Dal Tevis, Alter Rebbe. Because we're saying the seventh cherished. Why is the seventh cherished? Because he's the seventh to the first. So really, the first is is the real special, and we come out of that. So we're like the shtashos of them. But what makes us seventh is because there's a first. The Frierdiker Rebbe explains in the beginning when he came to America, what's the mile of the Rishon? What's the mile of Avram Avinu? But Avram's Aveda, what did Avram do? Avram's Aveda was with Mesiras Nefesh. And the Frierdiker Rebbe says this, he doesn't just stop and saying why is Avram so special? It's because of his Mesiras Nefesh. But he adds, even though it's not related to the Maimer, it seemingly doesn't need to be said, but he puts it in anyway. What does he say? Avram's Mesiras Nefesh, Avram's Mesiras Nefesh was a very great Mesiras Nefesh. And we're going to contrast between Mesiras Nefesh of Rabbi Akiva. That Abraham didn't want Mesiras Nefesh. He wanted to go spread out the message of Hashem is one, and there's only one Hashem, and that's all there is. And that's what his job was. That's what he wanted to do, to reveal godliness in the world. Now, if you need to have Mesiras Nefesh, in order for that to happen, so he also has Mesiras Nefesh. Not that he looked for Mesiras Nefesh. Rabbi Akiva says, Masa yavoy, when will it come to me the ability to have Mesiras Nefesh for Kaimen, and I'll fulfill it. Rabbi Akiva wanted Mesiras Nefesh. Avram didn't care about Mesiras Nefesh. He cared about spreading the message of godliness. And if it needs Mesiras Nefesh, I'll take Mesiras Nefesh as well. And that's why Avram Mesiras Nefesh was very great. Avram didn't search Mesiras Nefesh. Which is the difference between Mesiras Nefesh of Avram and Rabbi Akiva, like we just said. The Mesiras Nefesh, Rabbi Akiva, he searched Mesiras Nefesh. He wanted him. Mesiras Nefesh is an avodah. To give yourself over for God. I want to give myself over to God. When is it going to come to my hands that I'll have the opportunity to fulfill Mesiras Nefesh? Whereas Avram, he named Mesiras Nefesh Mesiras Nefesh was just like a side thing. It was incidental. Avram Yada, because Avram knew Sheikar Aveda, what's Avram's Aveda? And this is so true connection with us. What's the Rebbe's Aveda and what's our Aveda of the Derech Shvi? Moshe Kasuv, like it says, Vayikar Sham B'Shem Avayik Elam, that he called over there in the name of Hashem, the God of the world. So what does it teach? It teaches, it says, Al Tikra, Vayikra, don't say, and he called Ela Vayakri, and he proclaimed, meaning he motivated others to call him. As yen zal shrein, that other person should also proclaim the name of Hashem. That Abraham, not just he said, hey, there's an Eibishter, but he caused other people to say, hey, you're right, there is an Eibishter. And Abraham went around not just carving people to Hashem, but causing them to recognize it within themselves. And if that requires Mesiras Nefesh, so I have Mesiras Nefesh. Avram's job wasn't Mesiras Nefesh. His job was to proclaim the oneness of Hashem, and not just the oneness of Hashem, but that other people would proclaim the oneness of Hashem. So to speak, a shliach, get other people to get involved with it as well. That's what Avram's job was. And it happened to be that it needed Mesiras Nefesh, so he asked Mesiras Nefesh for it. And this is the difference between Avram Avinu and Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva was, I want to have Mesiras Nefesh. Avram didn't say I want to have Mesiras Nefesh. He was, I want to spread the message of God. And this is very much the Indian of Shluchus nowadays, and all of us, that we are Shluchim, we are from the 7th generation. It's our job, that's the Rebbe's job, and we're part of the soldiers of the Rebbe. That's what we have to do. Kach Gadla Milas Avedasa, and so too with the mile of Avram's Aveda of Mesiras Nefesh and his Mesiras Nefesh, Alashev Gama Moshe, Masha Zachash Al Yada, even Moshe, the Torah was given through him. Moshe and Torah, of course. Who mitam ki ashir chavin. But we're saying, as great as Moshe is, and the Torah is given through Moshe and Torah, one, that's only because of the fact of Avram Avinu, because of Avram Avinu being Avram Avinu. Not that he had Mesiras Nefesh because he wanted Mesiras Nefesh. He had Mesiras Nefesh because what he wanted to do was he wanted to spread out the message of God. And if they required Mesiras Nefesh, have Mesiras Nefesh, he would have Mesiras Nefesh. And because of Avram, what he did, or in terms of us, because of what the Alter Rebbe did, that causes that us in our generation and the Rebbe and Moshe Rabbeinu are able to bring down the Torah below, bring Mashiach. And that's what we're saying. That the Milo of the Shvi, the Milo of the Rebbe, he's saying my Milo is because of the fact that there's an Alter Rebbe. And because it's an Alter Rebbe, so then I come about. And because he started his job and brought the Shekhinah from the 7th to the 6th, I'm able, together with the Avodah of all of us, to bring the Shekhinah back into this physical world with the coming of Mashiach. And that's our job. To be continued tomorrow.